If you've ever been cheated on, then you definitely need to stick around for this riveting story. Heartbroken Harper, whose spouse didn't even spare her friend's daughter, secretly getting involved with her, the scandalous story of this man's betrayal of his wife. Hey, I'm Harper, a young woman who was madly in love with my husband and couldn't stand being apart from him. When Connor, my husband, would go to work, I'd call him several times a day just to hear his voice. Connor never fell short in proving his love for me, both in words and actions, but then, something happened that completely unraveled our life together. Everyone in the family used to say, if there's one good man in the world, it's your husband. No one could believe Connor would do something like this. We had a great life, envied by all. Like any couple, we had our small and big arguments, but they were always quickly resolved. It all started 3 years ago. Connor often forgot to put his phone in his bag, and I was always the one who had to bring it to him. One day, as I was putting his phone in his bag, my hand hit something hard. Out of curiosity, I opened the bag and found another phone that was turned off. Before he came back, I grabbed the phone and turned it on as soon as he left. It was filled with texts from a woman, telling him to make a decision and formalize their marriage. When Connor came home that night, I confronted him with the phone right in front of his eyes. We had a huge fight, and I threatened him. Finally, in tears, he confessed that he had temporarily married a widow out of pity. I was so angry I could have died. I decided to find that woman's house and confront her, no matter what. I couldn't believe I had been living all this time with someone who was married to another woman. We nearly got divorced. For 3 months, I stayed at my father's house in anger. Every day he would come, crying and begging for forgiveness, swearing it would never happen again. For the sake of our children, I was burnt but rebuilt and accepted him. My husband's relationship with that woman seemed to end, but after a while, she constantly harassed and called him. My mother-in-law, who knew about the situation, really supported me and stood up to her son. In this video, I've shared a story filled with love and betrayal. My story, Harper, a woman whose love for her husband, Connor, was manipulated by his secret betrayals. This story is an example of the emotional conflicts and their impact on the human spirit. If my story has touched you, please support by liking and sharing, and share your thoughts and experiences in the comments for more discussion. Your stories and experiences can help others and take us a step forward in creating a supportive community. A year and a half after that ordeal, we planned to move to a suburb of London for a fresh start. Both of us being employed, we requested transfers, and mine was approved, but Connor had to stay back in London due to some issues, planning to join me a few months later. Since my mother-in-law's house was close to my workplace, I would often go there or to my sister-in-law's after work. 7 months passed, but Connor's situation didn't improve, so I returned to him. However, Connor had changed. He was always on his phone, paying little attention to me, filling me with suspicions of infidelity again. One day, I checked his phone left on the table but found nothing. Yet, his behavior was suspicious. He was always at his computer, and whenever I called him at work, he'd say he was busy and would call me back. Every time I confronted him about his whereabouts or anything else suspicious, he would brush me off. The thought that Connor might have betrayed me again took away my peace of mind. I had already tasted the bitterness of betrayal once and couldn't bear it again. The mobile line was in my name, so the next morning, as soon as the sun rose, I went to the telecommunications office and got the call records. My suspicions were confirmed. My husband was involved with 2 people, exchanging love messages. One was a coworker who had visited our home several times, and the other was the daughter of one of his university classmates. I knew both of them well. Anger rushed to my face, but more than that, I was upset that my husband had befriended a girl from a problematic family. Her brothers were known troublemakers, extorting others to make ends meet. I waited till the evening for my husband to come home. I left the printouts on the table so he couldn't miss them, and sure enough, he saw them. Connor asked why I had gotten the printouts and started yelling and fighting. I retorted, "Are you scared because you did something wrong?" and we got into a big fight. Connor banged his head against the wall like a madman, insisting he hadn't done anything. But I didn't fall for it and packed my things and went to my father's house. Now, 5 months have passed, and my husband is still crying like before, cursing himself for what he did to me, promising to make it up to me, and saying he'll write and sign any commitment if I see anything suspicious again, giving me the right to make any decision without him saying a word. But I didn't accept and stayed away, until a few days ago when he called, blaming me with a demanding tone for his actions, saying he was restricted and cheated. If he were free, God knows what he wouldn't have done. I'm filled with so much anger and can't vent it out. My family doesn't know about my husband's recent betrayal. They think I'm living a happy life. Some nights, I wake up screaming. It's hard not being able to talk about your husband's betrayal to anyone, not even your family. I'm devastated because my trust and pride have trampled on, and my love has been taken for granted. In this emotional journey I've shared with you, we've experienced moments of love, betrayal, and complex emotions. But this is just one of the countless stories unfolding around us every day. If this story resonated with you, I invite you to share your own emotions and stories with me. And if you're eager to discover more stories, make sure to follow our channel and stay tuned for upcoming videos. Each video is a window into a new world, filled with life lessons and human moments that can bring us closer together. So, until we meet again, be brave in forging your own story, and know that in this roller coaster journey of life, you are not alone.